ठीक है, स्टार्ट करूं?
मैम आपको एक ऑप्शन डिसेबल करना है। आप
अच्छा,
कर्सर को ऊपर ले जाए मोर में, डिसेबल पार्टिसिपेंट एनोटेशन। ऊपर माउस को ले जाए, ऊपर मोर लिखा हुआ होगा, मोर में डिसेबल पार्टिसिपेंट एनोटेशन।
हो गया विकास?
जी डिसेबल हो गया मैम। इस पर क्लियर ऑल कीजिएगा, क्लियर ऑल। लेकिन कहीं पे क्लियर लिखा हुआ होगा, उससे ये चीज रिमूव हो जाएगी। अच्छा आप दोबारा शेयर कर दें स्क्रीन, दोबारा कर दें स्क्रीन। स्टॉप शेयरिंग करके दोबारा शेयर कर दें। ठीक है मैम, प्लीज फुल स्क्रीन कर दीजिएगा
कर दिया।
और फिर आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं।
So we have to start our today's presentation with the trigeminal nerve. Trigeminal nerve is the fifth cranial nerve. It has got two parts, that is the motor part and the sensory part. Motor part involves the muscles of the mastication, that is the temporalis, masseter, and pterygoids. Sensory part involves is divided into three parts, that is the ophthalmic division, the maxillary division, and the mandibular division, right? Now, how to check for the trigeminal nerve lesions? First of all, the muscles of the mastication. इसमें करना क्या होता है कि पेशेंट से कहना होता है, आपने 1 arm डिस्टेंस पेशेंट है, उससे अपनी फिंगर्स 2 फिंगर्स को पेशेंट के टेम्पल्स के ऊपर रखना होता है, ठीक है, एंड आस्क द पेशेंट टू clench the teeth and release. Clench and release, and you have to feel the temporalis. Simultaneously, you have to pick the fingers on the masseters, and you have to feel the masseter also. Sensory examination में आपने V1, V2, V3 distribution में check करना होता है, just like this. This is checking for the soft touch. This is the V1 distribution, right? And for the pain, you have to check it through the pinprick sensation. And this is the V2 distribution. With the eyes closed, आपने simple pin को V1, V2, V3 distribution के अंदर रखना होता है. Patient से कहना होता है कि आपको feel हो रहा है, yes or no का answer दें. साइमल्टेनियसली आपने राइट और लेफ्ट दोनों साइड्स पे टच करना होता है और ये पूछना होता है कि इक्वल सेंसेशन फील हो रही है या नहीं हो रही है. दिस इज चेकिंग फॉर द कॉर्नियल रिफ्लेक्स एंड दिस इज डूइंग द जॉ jerk. The jaw jerk usually is a reflection of an upper motor neuron pathology. Lesions of the trigeminal nerve, loss of sensation on the same side of the face, sparing the angle of the mandible that is supplied by the C2, weakness of the muscles of mastication on the same side of the lesion, deviation of the jaw to the affected side due to unopposed action of pterygoid muscles of the normal side. So this is the lesion of the trigeminal nerve. Now a single slide about the trigeminal neuralgia. What is trigeminal neuralgia? It's a paroxysmal pain along the distribution of the trigeminal nerve. Pain is sudden, sharp, stabbing, or burning in quality, precipitated by touching or moving the trigger regions, for example, while eating, speaking, or brushing teeth. Absence of symptoms between the attacks. Causes are usually idiopathic or ectatic vascular loop compressing the trigeminal nerve. We usually do the MRI brain to focus the pons and trigeminal nerve root, and the treatment include the carbamazepine. So this is about the trigeminal nerve. Now moving towards the facial nerve. Facial nerve is the most common nerve to be discussed. The facial nerve has got two components, that is the motor part and the sensory part. Motor part innervates the muscles of the facial expression. Sensory part, parasympathetics, secretory fibers to sublingual and submandibular salivary glands and to the lacrimal gland. And the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, taste sensation. So it has got two parts, the motor part for the facial expression and the sensory part for the parasympathetics, and the anterior to third taste sensation. Supranuclear innervation to the muscles of facial expression arises from the contralateral precentral gyrus. Then the fibers descend in the corticobulbar tract into the pons and where the nucleus is located. Decussate to converge on the nucleus, right? From the nucleus, the motor fibers pass through the CP angle, the cerebellopontine angle, then enter the internal auditory meatus into the facial canal where it becomes adherent to the sensory and autonomic part. It then leaves the canal through the stylomastoid foramen, pass through the parotid gland, and divide into its terminal branches. So it's a simple track. Supranuclear innervation from the precentral gyrus, corticobulbar tract, decussate, then descends into the pons, from the pons through the CP angle, internal auditory meatus, facial canal, from the stylomastoid foramen into the parotid gland. So these are the muscles of facial expression. Action of the frontalis, that is surprise or frightening. This is the action of frontalis muscle. Orbicularis oculi, that is the tight closure of your eyes. Corrugator supercilii draws the eyebrows downward and medially, producing the vertical wrinkles of the forehead. Vertical wrinkles. Dilator nares dilates the nostrils. Procerus wrinkles the skin of the nose transversely in frowning. Orbicularis oculi oris, that is pursing or puckering of the lips. Depressor anguli oris depresses the angle of the mouth. Zygomaticus major, this muscle causes the corners of the person's mouth to rise when they smile. Zygomaticus minor, it draws the upper lip backward, upward, and outward. Mentalis, wrinkling of the chin, as in doubt. Platysma, that is the action of the terror, fright, and horror. These are the different muscles of the facial expression. Now, this is the diagrammatic representation of facial palsy. This is a lower motor neuron facial palsy, right? It involves the full half of the face. You can appreciate the loss of the wrinkles. The eye closure is impaired and the angle of the mouth is also depressed here. Causes of the lower motor neuron facial weakness, the most common cause is the Bell's palsy. Then is the Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, which is a post-herpes zoster. This is a post-herpes zoster rash, and we can have a low motor neuron facial palsy in this cases, right? Then it's a pontine stroke, right? Cerebellopontine angle tumors like a caustic neuroma and meningioma. You can appreciate here is that this is the meningioma. Right? This is cerebellopontine angle tumor. Other causes includes the head trauma, sarcoidosis, diabetes, in GBS. In GBS, you might plot bilateral facial nerve palsy, HIV infection, lymphoma. Now, a few sentences about the Bell's palsy. It's the idiopathic facial paralysis, usually follows a viral infection or immunization. Symptoms usually begin with pain behind the ear, followed by the facial weakness involving both the upper and the lower face. Patient also note loss of taste sensation on the anterior two-thirds, dryness of the eye, or hyperacusis of the lower tone. And the treatment includes the steroids. This is also a diagrammatic representation of facial palsy, but this is an upper motor neuron facial palsy. कैसे पता चलता है अपर मोटर न्यूरॉन लोअर मोटर न्यूरॉन फेशियल पैल्सी का? लोअर मोटर न्यूरॉन होल फेस को इन्वॉल्व करती है, ठीक है, जबकि अपर मोटर न्यूरॉन फेशियल पैल्सी अपर फेस को स्पेयर कर देती है. It only involves the lower part of the face. Upper motor neuron versus lower motor neuron facial palsy, the portion of the nucleus that innervates the lower half of the face has got the contralateral supranuclear control, and the portion that innervates the upper half of the face has the bilateral control. So upper motor neuron facial palsy के अंदर upper face is spared होता है because of the bilateral innervation, right? So this is about the facial nerve palsy. Now moving towards the vestibulocochlear nerve. Whenever you are checking the vestibulocochlear, ideally you should have the otoscopic examination. Should be done first to exclude the presence of wax, pus, blood, or foreign bodies. It has got the two parts, that is the cochlear part that is hearing, and the vestibular part for the balance, coordination, and orientation in space. Now examination. Examination में सबसे पहले आपका whisper test होता है. Whisper test क्या होता है? You have to just go near the patient and whisper what the words you can use, simple words like the days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or simple words जैसे आसमान है, ज़मीन है, इस तरह के words आपने बोले होते हैं, ठीक है? And ask the patient कि आपको क्या बोला गया है, right? You have to check one ear at a time and you have to exclude the other ear, ठीक है? Rennie's test. Rennie's test is basically the test for checking the sense vestibulocochlear nerve. What is the rule for the Rennie's? Rennie's says the ear conduction is better than the bone conduction. So what you have to do, you have to strike the tuning fork. You have to keep the tuning fork on the temporal bone. और पेशेंट से आपने पूछना होता है कि आपको ये झुंझुनाहट फील हो रही है या नहीं हो रही है. जब वो कहेगा स्टॉप हो गई है, उसके बाद आप पूरी ट्यूनिंग फोर्क एयर के सामने रखेंगे एंड देन यू हैव टू आस्क द पेशेंट कि अभी आपको फील हो रही है या नहीं हो रही है साउंड. ठीक है, तो द रूल इज द एयर कंडक्शन इज बेटर देन द बोन कंडक्शन. पेशेंट शुड अप्रिशिएट दैट द एयर कंडक्शन इज बेटर देन बोन. And then the Weber's test. The Weber's test के अंदर आपने basically tuning fork को center में रखना होता है, vertex के अंदर, and you have to check the lateralization of the sound. What is the interpretation of the Rennie's and the Weber's test? In conductive hearing loss, ear conduction is impaired, but the bone conduction is preserved. Sound is not conducted normally through the canal or from the tympanic membrane through the ossicular chain to the cochlea. In sensorineural hearing loss, both are impaired. Both the ear conduction and bone conduction is impaired, right? Weber's test, normally the sound is not lateralized. In conductive loss, the sound is lateralized towards the involved side. In sensorineural hearing loss, sound is lateralized to the normal ear. Causes of the hearing loss. Conductive hearing loss, that is the external auditory canal obstruction, perforation of the tympanic membrane, diseases of the middle ear, diseases of the nasopharynx with obstruction of the eustachian tube. Sensorineural hearing loss, diseases of cochlea, acoustic trauma, Meniere's disease, infections, congenital rubella, presbycusis, that is the natural aging. Diseases of the cochlear nerve, tumors, that is acoustic neuroma, trauma, skull fractures, meningitis, toxins, and trans. Vestibular functions usually Romberg's testing. Romberg's आप कैसे करते हैं? Patients आप कहते हैं कि आप straight खड़े हो जाएं, आपके feet together, arms adducted, and you have to close the eyes, and you have to see the patient. If the patient tends to fall, then the Romberg's test would be positive, and it's the test for assessing the vestibular function. Now going towards the glossopharyngeal and the vagus nerve. Pain and touch sensation of the pharynx, tonsillar region, and soft palate. इसके लिए responsible है. Gag reflex or R test. So these are the two tests. Gag reflex afferent is 9th, and the efferent is 9th and 10th grade now. This is the gag reflex. Gag reflex is elicited by touching the lateral oropharynx on one side of the soft palate or uvula with a tongue blade. The afferent limb of the reflex is mediated through the 9th, and the efferent is through the 9th and 10th. This is the R test. R test में आपने सिर्फ patient से कहना होता है कि open your mouth and say ah, right? और R test में आप note कर रहे होते हैं uvula की position को और palate की position को, ठीक है? कि equal elevation of palate हो रहा है और uvula should be central, right? अब जैसे इस diagrammatic representation में uvula is not central. Uvula is deviated towards the left side, and this is a 9th cranial nerve palsy on the right side. Character of the voice also check कर रहे होते हैं 9th 10th में nasal speech हो जाती है, ability to swallow, that is the nasal regurgitation and the cough reflex. Yeah. Now moving towards the spinal accessory nerve. The spinal accessory is actually two nerves that run together. A smaller cranial portion, the spatial visceral efferent to the vagus nerve. Major part is the spinal portion. The fibers of the spinal root arises from the motor cells in the spinal accessory nuclei in the ventral horn from C2 to C5. These unite into a single trunk. Ascends enter the skull through the foramen magnum. The spinal root joins the cranial root for a short distance and it exits through the jugular foramen. So muscles should be inspected and palpated. What you have to note is the atrophy and the fasciculations. Action of the sternocleidomastoid, have the patient turn the head fully, hold it there, then try to turn the head back to the midline, avoiding any tilting or leaning. This is the action of the sternocleidomastoid, right? Trapezius action, shrug the shoulders against the resistance. Atrophy, outline of the neck changes, depression or drooping of the shoulder contour, and flecking of the trapezius ridge, resulting in sagging of the shoulder. This is the sagging of the shoulder. Now the lesions. The peripheral lesions within the skull in the jugular foramen are the most common causes of the impairment of the function of the spinal accessory nerve. Causes include the basal skull fractures, meningitis, neoplasms, right? In posterior triangle neck of the neck, the spinal accessory is very vulnerable, and the causes include the cervical adenopathy, neoplasms, and the trauma. Now the hypoglossal nerve, purely a motor nerve supplying the tongue. Its cells of origin are in the hypoglossal nuclei. The nerve emerges from the medulla, then passes through the hypoglossal canal, descends the neck, then passes forward under the tongue. Strength, bulk, and dexterity, looking for the weakness and atrophy of the abnormal muscles. This is basically the tongue muscles, right? After noting the position and appearance of the tongue at rest in the mouth, the patient is asked to protrude it, move it in and out from side to side, upward and downward. Motor power can be assessed by pressing against the cheek as the examiner tries to dislodge it with the finger pressure. It may be helpful to gauge the tongue position in relation to the tip of the nose or notch between the upper incisors. When the tongue atrophy occurs, loss of bulk is the first apparent along the borders or at the tip. With advanced atrophy, tongue is furrowed, wrinkled, and smaller. Here is a diagrammatic representation of the tongue deviation towards the left side. The tongue is atrophic, furrowed, right? When unilateral weakness is present, the tongue deviates towards the weak side on the protrusion because of the action of the normal genioglossus. There may be difficulty manipulating the food in the mouth and inability to remove the food from between the teeth and the cheeks on either side. Rapid tongue movements would be impaired. With severe bilateral weakness, the tongue cannot be protruded or move laterally. Now the lesions. The supranuclear lesion, the tongue deviates towards the weak side, contralateral to the lesion. Supranuclear tongue weakness may occur with a destructive lesion of the cerebral cortex or the corticobulbar tract in the internal capsule, cerebral peduncles, or the pons. Nuclear lesion, that is, the tongue protrudes towards the weak side, same side of the lesion. Weakness with atrophy. Common disorders include the neoplasms, vascular lesions, and the motor neuron diseases. Infranuclear lesion, same deficit as the nuclear. Processes involving intracranial cores, infectious and neoplastic meningitis, neoplasms, trauma, skull base fractures. Processes involving the extracranial course include the surgery of the neck, mouth or tongue, carotid aneurysms, infections in the retropharyngeal space, irradiation, tumors involving the neck and the tongue base. Now the lower cranial nerve lesions, cranial nerve 9th, 10th and 11th may be affected on one side as they pass through jugular foramen at the skull base, Burnett or jugular foramen syndrome. So जब भी आपसे कभी ये पूछा जाए कि jugular foramen syndrome क्या है? Jugular foramen syndrome is the involvement of 9th, 10th and 11th cranial nerve, and the causes would be metastasis, meningioma or trauma. Hypoglossal nerve exits the skull in its own foramen. All four cranial nerves lies in close proximity to the carotid artery, and here they can be involved by the carotid artery aneurysm. Hypoglossal nerve palsy can also occur as an idiopathic benign syndrome that resolves spontaneously. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th can be simultaneously involved. The term जो use की जाती है वो Kohler-Sicard use किया जाता है. Jugular foramen just outside the skull, same etiology. Then the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th and the Horner syndrome combination would be called as Villard syndrome. Posterior retropharyngeal space is the location for it. The etiology could be carotid dissection, metastasis, meningioma or trauma. Isolated 12th nerve can be involved in the hypoglossal canal and etiology would be the same. Okay, we have to start our description from the trigeminal nerve, जिसमें हमने एक just go through करेंगे, जिसमें हमने motor, sensory और reflexes को discuss किया. ठीक है, then we move our descriptions towards the facial nerve. Facial nerve में जो important component है वो मैं आपको repeat करवाऊंगी, which is the lower motor neuron and the upper motor neuron part. This is a lower motor neuron facial palsy. It involves the whole part of the face. The most common cause is the Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy is the idiopathic lower motor neuron facial involvement, and we usually treat it with the steroids. This is basically the upper motor neuron facial palsy because it is involving the lower part of the face only and sparing the upper half. Vestibulocochlear is a simple nerve, जिसमें cochlear or vestibular components, cochlear component with whisper, Brenny's, Weber's test करते हैं. Glossopharyngeal and vagus में gag reflex और R test करते हैं. R test के अंदर ये दोबारा से diagrammatic representation है. Deviation of the uvula towards the left side. This is the 9th cranial nerve palsy on the right side. क्योंकि uvula को downward move करती है. Uvula जब downward move होता है तो जो palate की जो movement होती है downward होती है और uvula को deviate करती है towards the opposite side. Spinal accessory nerve. This is the spinal accessory nerve involvement on the right side. Hypoglossal nerve again is the muscles of the tongue and deviation towards the left side, furrowed tongue and atrophy of the tongue. So this is all today's presentation. If you have any questions, you can ask me.